How's it going, everybody? Welcome to today's Sick Mobility class. I am Coach Ray. Thank you for joining me for today. It's been a little while. Just want to say hi. But for today's class, we are going to need access to 2 long sticks. I also have a TRX that I'm going to be using. For today's drills, we are going to be focusing on a row variation. We're going to be focusing on a squat, or more specifically, a way to progress into using a TRX in order to do a single leg or pistol squat kind of variation. And we're also going to get into a little bit of standing core drill, specifically working with a plank, standing plank, adding in some rotation to really hit those obliques and also kind of tie in that lat as well. So we're going to kind of hit those lateral tissues a bit. But we are also going to need a bench and a pad because we are going to be stretching out those hip flexors, getting into those anterior lines, really opening all that up. We're going to be doing that at least as an initial starter drill before we get into the single leg squat there. So for today's class, we are going to start off with both sticks here, and we're going to start off with getting the spine moving. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a relatively wide stand, not super wide, it's going to be roughly about hip to shoulder width apart, and I want my toes to be pointed forward here. I'm going to have both sticks about roughly 6 to 8 inches in front of the line of my toes here, and I want the sticks to be angled in. I'm going to have my hands at roughly about shoulder height here. What I'm going to do from this position is I'm first going to drive the sticks and my shoulders down. You're going to get a little bit of anterior tension, and then I'm going to hinge my hips back as I drive the sticks out. We're very familiar with this drill. We're just going to use this as a way to open up your thoracic spine. And that mid back a bit. Breathe. Keep driving those sticks down about roughly 20%. Nothing too significant. Then we're going to come back up. Excellent. Let's go into it again. Drive those hips back. Reach out with the arms. Deep breaths. Back up. Let's go 2 more. Hinge back. Breathe. Back up. Let's go 1 more time. Hinge back. Really reach out. You want to actually get a little bit of a hang in your hands here. Come back up and relax. We're still going to use both sticks here, but what we're going to do is we're going to work with really stretching out the lat and really getting into that lateral chain. We're just going to be somewhat dynamic here. Now from this position here, I want both feet to be together, and I'm going to have the bottom of the sticks about a couple of inches in front of the line, about 6 inches in front of the line of my toes here. I'm going to have both hands at roughly about chin height. What I'm going to do from this position here is I'm going to take my right foot up, and I'm going to step back and curtsy that right foot going across and sink into that left hip here. That's the first part. The second part here, now to stretch out that lateral line, is I'm going to really rotate the left stick back and really drive that right stick down, really lengthening, but also pulling the stick across. Bring the sticks back to center, come up, and now we're going to do that on the opposite side. Pick the foot up, curtsy, and we're keeping that back heel nice and high. We're going to rotate the sticks to the right, and you'll probably notice you'll get a little bit of a stretch in that right hip capsule. All right? So we're getting that left lateral line going all the way down from the lat into the hip, but we're getting that right hip capsule on the outer hip. Back up. We're going to go to the other side, pick up the right foot, step back, rotate to the left. Breathe. Back up. Now opposite side again. Pick up, curtsy that foot out, create a nice big gap here. Rotate to the right. Breathe. Excellent. Step back up and ease off. Take a second here. We're now going to work with the hips. So I'm going to place one stick down. And what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna get into the ninja flow here. So I want to use the ninja flow to really warm up the spine, but also we're gonna get those adductors, get those hips going as well. I'm gonna take a step back. We're gonna take a relatively wide stance. The stance is always gonna depend on you and your mobility and what feels most comfortable for you. Always remember, you wanna stay out of those ranges of pain. I'm gonna have the stick on the inside of my left foot, and it's right by the ball of my foot here as well. I'm gonna have my left hand up around roughly face height. You can adjust your hand as you need to. Now from this position here, the stick starts straight out to the side. Full grip on the stick. I want to drive that stick down about roughly 20% tension, and I'm going to hinge my hips back. Also, it's okay if your feet are slightly pointed outwards. I want the stick to come in line with my rib cage and shoulder. I don't want the stick above. I want it right out to the side here. Reaching that right hand down towards the floor. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to reach across that right hand, pull apart about 30% tension, and now I'm gonna lunge to my right. Got a nice little adjustment there. Excellent, come back up. Let go of that right hand and ease off. We're gonna go into it 2 more times and then we're gonna switch sides. Drive the stick down, about 20-30% tension. Hinge those hips back. Bring the stick to the side. Get a nice little hang going here. Reach across with the right hand, thumb facing down, pull apart and lunge to the right. And almost think about sinking those hips back. Excellent, back to center. Let go with the right hand, come up. Let's go one more time here, folks. Drive the stick down, hinge, soft bend to the knees. Get a nice stretch in the hamstrings. Grab with the thumb facing down, pull apart, sink into it. Breathe. Back to center. Let go with the right hand. Stand up and ease off. Let's go ahead and switch sides here, folks. I'm gonna try to set up the same way. Right hand on the stick. Try to have it roughly about the same height. You might need to adjust your hand from one side to the other. Drive the stick down. We're gonna hinge back. Stick comes out to the side. If you're anything like me today, your chest is probably a little tight. Maybe your anterior delt is a little tight. Your biceps as well. So it's a really good way to stretch that out. I'm gonna reach across with my left hand, thumb facing down, pull apart, lunge to my left. Getting a nice little adjustment here. Back up, let go with the left hand, stand up nice and slow and ease off. We got 2 more here, folks. Drive the stick down, hinge those hips back. Get that nice good stretch in the pec and that shoulder. Reach across with your left, pull apart, lunge to your left. You really should be driving off that right leg nice and hard here. Back up, let go with the left hand, stand up and ease off. We got 1 more time here, folks. Drive the stick down, stick comes out to the side. Good, reach across with the left hand, pull apart, lunge to the left. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Back to center. Let go with the left. Stand up. Excellent. Let's go ahead and wiggle those feet in. Nice and slow. Now, like I mentioned, we are going to be getting into a squat type of movement. Mostly going to be actually more like a pistol squat or a single leg squat. We're going to be using that TRX for assistance. So we want to actually go through and stretch out those tissues that are actually going to be involved with that movement. This is where we're going to need the pad and the bench. We're going to be doing a couch stretch. Now we're going to take both sticks here, and the way we're going to go about this is we're going to do an active stretch, meaning we're not just going to relax into it, but we want to activate those tissues to make sure that as they're actually lengthened, that they can handle force production. So I'm gonna step back here. We're gonna start with the left leg. So I'm gonna have my right foot grounded, left foot is gonna be back, top of the foot on the bench, and you can adjust your right foot as you need to here. My hands are roughly about shoulder height here as I'm standing. And what I wanna do is I'm gonna drop that back knee down to the floor. If you can get all the way to the floor, that is excellent. If you need to, you can always grab a couple more pads or find something lower than this bench to get into position to. Now, for a lot of people, this might actually start off as a stretch. However, again, I want to be active here. So I'm going to have the sticks roughly about in line with the heel of my front foot. Arms are going to be straight here. And the width of the sticks doesn't particularly matter from this position. We're going to go through a series of activations. So I'm going to first drive the sticks down about 20%. I'm going to drive my back foot into the bench. And then I'm going to tuck my pelvis and hold that tension 20%. We're going to hold this for 15 seconds. You're going to feel a nice big stretch on the anterior part of your hip and that quad. However, since we're adding tension to a lengthened position, we're really changing how the tissues actually function. Excellent. We're going to ease off, and then we're going to shift forward a little bit just to take off the tension on the quad and the anterior tissues. We're gonna go back into it again. So we're gonna sit back up, try to get your butt closer to your heel, drive the sticks down about 20%, drive that foot into the bench, tuck your pelvis. Breathe. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. We're gonna go one more time here, folks. Bring back up, arms straight, drive the sticks down, drive the foot into the bench, tuck your pelvis. Excellent, breathe. We're only at 20%. Remember, we're just trying to get those tissues nice and active, not necessarily trying to actually tire them out. We just need to get more awareness to what we're going to be utilizing. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. We're going to ease off. Use the sticks to assist yourself up. Shake your leg out if you need to. All right, it's quite intense. Now we're going to switch over to the other side. So right foot is on the bench. Get that right knee down to the floor. We're going to have that setup be exactly the same. So we're going to drive the sticks down 20%, drive the foot into the bench, and tuck your pelvis. You're going to notice one side's tighter than the other. All right? Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Lean forward. Okay? Take off some of that tension, right? Gonna go back into it again. So shift hips back. Drive both sticks down. Drive the foot into the bench and tuck your pelvis. Make sure you're breathing here, folks. Breathe. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Excellent. One last time, folks. I know this is intense. This is a really good way to get those tissues warmed up. Just go and sink back. Drive the sticks down. Tuck your pelvis. Drive that back foot into the bench. Breathe. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Assist yourself up with the sticks. Take a second. Shake your legs out. The legs are probably your quads. Those anterior tissues are probably going to feel a little active, and they should feel really active. But again, we want to make sure that we're getting all the tissues that are going to be involved really worked up. Now we're going to work on the shoulders. Again, we're doing rows, so we need to make sure we have good control of the scapula or the shoulder blade as we actually go through the row. What we don't want is that as we go through the row, that anterior rotation, so we need to work on keeping the shoulder blade down and really depressing and retracting. So we're actually gonna do a drill to really work on that. So we're gonna take the second stick here, and we're gonna do this drill from a standing position. Now, you don't really need to see my feet here, but my feet are roughly about hip width apart, toes are gonna be pointed forward here. We just wanna make sure we're in a stance that's gonna allow us to have good stability. Now from this position here, I'm gonna have both sticks slightly wider than my shoulders here, just a little bit, or at about shoulder width, whatever's most comfortable for you. Both elbows are bent at 90 degrees, and I have a full grip on a stick. Thumbs are facing up towards the ceiling here. Now from this position here, I'm gonna squeeze my glutes just to lock my hips into extension. Now first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drive the sticks down at about 30% tension. You're gonna feel those anterior core tissues turn on. What I want you to do is I want you to pull your shoulder blades going down towards your hips. The movement is gonna be super subtle. Now from this position, I'm gonna pull the sticks back going towards me, but as I do that, I'm gonna retract my shoulder blades. So I'm gonna pull the sticks in, retract my shoulder blades, keep my shoulder blades going down towards my back pocket. I'm gonna hold, and then I'm gonna bring them out till my arms are at 90 degrees here, and then ease off. I'm gonna show you kind of from a side-ish back angle what that looks like. So from here, set up, grip on the stick, 30%, drive the sticks into the floor, pull those shoulder blades down. As you do that, you should feel your lats already engaged. Now pull the sticks coming back towards you, retract those shoulder blades. Three, two, one, come back forward and ease off. Excellent. We're gonna go one more time. And I'm gonna show this from the side as well. And I want you to pay attention to my shoulder joint, all right? What is my shoulder doing? Is it coming up? Is it anteriorly rotating? You really wanna keep an eye on that as we do these rows. So from here, same thing. Drive the sticks down, drive the shoulders down, shoulder blades into your back pocket, pull the sticks back, retract your shoulder blades. Three, two, one, excellent, ease off. Take a second. Now we're gonna get into the fun part. We're gonna get into the TRX. This is where you'll actually need it set up. We're gonna start off with the row. Now, as we actually do this row here, and you can always adjust the height as you need to, also adjust your angle, your body angle. If you're at a more upright or vertical angle, you're gonna get a lot less tension. If you want more of a challenge, you wanna be at a more horizontal or diagonal angle here. Now, for the rows, I like to actually start with my palms down. So palms facing down towards my feet. That allows me to start off in a position where I'm kind of internally rotated, but as I go to pull, I pull into that neutral grip position, which allows for a little bit better control here. Now, from here, I'm gonna start off with a decent angle. We're gonna go 10 repetitions here. I'm gonna start at a fully extended position. Palms are facing down towards the floor here. Now, like we did on the last drill, pull those shoulder blades going down towards your back pocket. That is the first position. And now we're gonna row. We're gonna pull our torso towards our hands. So pull our rib cage up towards our hands and slowly return back down. We're gonna rotate them back towards the floor. So as I pull, rotate those hands in, back down slow. That's 2. Pull, back down slow. That's 3. Pull, back down slow. That's 4. Pull, 5. Pull, 6. Core engaged. Pull, 7. Pull, 8. 2 more. pull, 9, last one, pull, 10, and ease off. Nice and easy. Take a second here. Again, what we're looking for is how well we can control your rib cage, how well you can control your scapula, and how well you can control what your shoulders are doing as we actually move through this. So let's go ahead and get into another set. We are on to our second set. Figure out your angle, right? So if it wasn't as much of a challenge, don't be afraid to move your feet forward. Make this as challenging as you want it to be, or not as challenging as you want it to be. So figure out your foot angle, your stance width. It can be at about roughly hip to shoulder width. You can have it wider. All depends on what's most comfortable for you. You start out, arms are extended, shoulder blades back down towards the back hip. So we're packing the shoulders, pull up, it's 1, up, 2, up, 3, up, 4, up, 5, up, 6, up, 7, up, 8, up, 9, one more, up, 10. Excellent, and ease off. All right, we're gonna take a second here. Now we're gonna get into the squat. All right, so this is where we get into our squat. Now, for this, we're gonna start off with a basic bilateral or two-legged squat. And then from there, we're going to work with transitioning into a single leg. Now, for the single leg squat, when it comes to depth, when it comes to how your squat mechanics look, everybody's gonna look different. My squat is not gonna look the same as yours, and that's okay. The depth that you're able to get, I only want you to work with the depth that you're able to get to without any pain or discomfort. I'm gonna grab the TRX here, and I'm gonna take a step back. I'm gonna grab the end straps here. I'm not gonna hold on to the handles. And if anything, this should be light in your hands. We're not trying to really pull on it. But we're using this as a way to kind of actually have a guide and for balance. My squat stance is gonna be roughly about, I'm gonna go with the normal squat stance that I usually go with. So for me, about shoulder width, maybe slightly wider, slight toe out angle. This is just to kind of warm up that movement. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a tiny bit of tension onto the TRX here. And I wanna keep that tension nice and light. What I'm gonna do from here, I'm gonna go into my squat. So I'm going to kind of allow my knees to bend forward, make sure my knees are traveling out over my mid-toe. I'm gonna squat down as low as I can. Notice my hands are up. This allows me to get into a deep position while maintaining an upright position. Now I'm gonna come up, squeeze those glutes to the top. Let's go 8 reps. So it's 1. Make sure you're pushing your entire foot into the floor. Up, 2. Squat down, up, 3, squat down, up, 4, squat down, up, 5, let's go 3 more, squat, breathe, 6, let's go 2 more, up, 7, last one, squat, up, 8, excellent. First set, that's actually gonna be the easiest. Now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna transition into a single leg squat. And I'm actually gonna show you 2 different ways. We can do one where it's actually a full-on pistol squat, and there's another variation that we can do where we actually have that front leg down on the floor, or at least that front heel, just for added stability, support, and assistance if you need to. So the first squat let's say I start with my left foot first. I'm gonna pick my right foot up and I'm gonna place my heel about an inch or two in front of the line of the toes of my left foot here. The weight that's on this right foot is super light. I'm gonna keep that little bit of tension on the band, on the TRX here. All my weight is in my left foot. What I'm gonna do from here is I'm going to squat down as low as I possibly can without any pain or discomfort, and then back up, lightly pulling on the TRX, all right? So let's go 5 reps here, just so we're kind of used to that motion. Down, up. Remember, all that weight is on that left foot. Down, up. 3, let's go 2 more. Down, up. 4, one more time. Down, up. 5, let's switch legs. We're gonna do that same thing on the opposite side. This foot is light, right? Dorsally flexing that ankle, getting some tension there. Squat down, up, 1, up, 2, up, 3, up, 4, last one, up, 5. Take a second. We're going to transition into the harder variation, which is going to be the full-on single leg squat. If that last one was challenging enough for you, stick to that. Just stick to that one. But for the single leg squat, now that opposite leg is actually not going to be on the ground at all. This is where it's going to require some balance. We're still using the TRX for some balancing and some added support and assistance if we need to. So we're going to go 5 repetitions here as well. So I'm going to switch back to doing my left foot. Start my feet together. I'm going to bring my right foot out in front. I want to try to keep this left foot as flat as I possibly can, so don't be afraid to adjust your position to go closer or further apart. Like pull on the TRX. I'm going to squat down, sink into it, keep your right foot off the floor, and then back up. That's 1. Down, up, 2, down, up, 3, down, up, 4, last one, down, up, 5. Excellent, good. We're gonna switch sides here. Also, active foot. Drive your toes into the floor, grab the ground. Left foot's off. Next bounce on my right foot here. Down, up. 1, down, up. 2, down, up. 3, down, up. 4, last one, down, up. 5, excellent, good. Again, a few different variations for squats. We have the bilateral, we have a unilateral, we have a staggered. It's just like a deadlift. You can do a bilateral deadlift, or you can do staggered, single leg. You can still have those same progressions actually transfer over into other exercises. So let's actually get into the final drill. All right, folks, this is where we get into our standing plank with rotations. So we're gonna need both long sticks here. And I'm gonna take a step back. All right, folks, this is where we get into our standing plank with rotations. Now we're gonna need both long sticks for this, and our feet are gonna be at about roughly hip width. Toes are gonna be pointed forward here. Now the objective here is to make sure we're not actually rotating the hips. That movement we're getting is simply just from the torso, just from the spine. We start to get the hips into it, there's nothing wrong with that. However, we start to lose a connection to the obliques and that lat. I'm gonna have both sticks and I'm going to angle them in towards my toes. So they're roughly about in line with my toes here. And both hands are going to be about roughly shoulder height, or you can have them at rib cage height. The higher your hands are up, the more of a challenge it ends up being, because now you have to keep that hollow position. Hands are at shoulder height here. Pull your shoulder blades going down towards your back pocket. Rib cage down, pelvis tucked. That's the first part. We're gonna go at 60% tension and drive those sticks into the floor. You're gonna feel those anterior core tissues turn on. What I'm gonna do from this position here, still driving those sticks into the ground, I'm gonna rotate both sticks to my right, and I'm gonna, at the same time, drive my right hip going forward. Come back to center. Now rotate to the left, driving my left hip forward, still driving the sticks into the floor. And you'll notice that as you rotate to the left, you're gonna drive that left stick harder. Come back to center, to the right, push, breathe, back to center, now to left, push, excellent. Now to the right, one more time, breathe, excellent, back to center, now to the left, push, drive, 3, 2, 1, back to center, and ease off. Excellent, good. Now let's go on to get into our stretching and cool down here, folks. Now for the first thing I want to start off with is I want to start off with stretching out the chest, biceps, and the shoulders. There's going to be kind of a similar setup to the very first drill that we did. However, the sticks are actually now coming out to the side. So I'm going to take a roughly about shoulder width stance, toes are going to be pointed forward. I want the bottom of the sticks to be in line with the toes of my foot here. I don't want them behind, or actually at this point I don't really want them at the line up with what's there on my foot. I want them in line with the toes of my foot here. I'm going to grip the sticks with a rope or thumbs up type of grip, all fingers on the stick. From this position here, I'm going to lightly drive the sticks down, only about 20%, keep it really light. And I'm going to hinge my hips back, keeping the sticks out to the side, and I'm going to drive my torso going towards the floor here. So as you're doing this, you're going to get a nice big stretch in the pecs. Breathe. Keep that tension of lightly driving those sticks into the floor here. Excellent. Slowly come up to that tall position. Ease off. Take a second. We're going to go into it again. This time we're going to change the location of the sticks after we're in that stretch position. Drive the sticks down. Hinge hips back. Get a hang in those hands. Excellent. Pull your hands going down towards your hips, and you're going to rotate your palms away from you. Also kind of like skinning the cat. So we get more of that anterior delt here. Come back to the side. Stand up and ease off. We're gonna get into the pec minor, so we're gonna set this up a slight bit differently. More so where the sticks are angled. So instead of sticks coming out to the side, going into it, and then moving the sticks up overhead, which would be a lot, we're actually going to kind of bring the sticks forward so they're almost in front a little bit more here. So as we go down, we'll go into more of a Y shape. So we're gonna do the same thing, lightly drive the sticks down, hinge the hips back. You only go until you get a stretch in the pec minor. You're gonna feel it almost like it's tying into your anterior delt and bicep area. So for me, my left is quite a bit tighter than my right. unfortunately, from a string. So if you're feeling like things are a little off, don't be afraid to adjust how you need to. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Slowly come up and ease off. We're gonna place one stick down, and I wanna get into some kayaking here. So we're gonna use this as a way to really work on loosening up the shoulder blades. We're also going to add in some rotation, so we're not just getting the shoulders and the glenohumeral joint, but we're also getting some full movement into it. So I'm gonna start with hands are out wide, and I'm actually gonna kind of do this from the side. So the initial part, you can see that I'm not actually opening up that rotation. I want to keep that movement in the shoulder as much as we can here. I'm gonna grip out, thumbs facing out away from one another. I'm gonna start with my right hand up, squeeze the glutes, hips in extension. Then I'm gonna drive that right hand through, nice and slow, up and over, and then my left hand. And I'm trying to get as much range as I can possibly handle, right? If this hurts, or if you've got any discomfort, reduce your range of motion. Breathe. Notice how slow my speed is. That should be the same speed that you're at. Excellent. Now I'm going to start to add in rotation. So as my right hand comes up and over, I'm going to rotate to my left. Left hand comes up and over, I'm going to rotate to my right. There you go. Keep it nice and smooth. Do not start that rotation early. Only once your hand or your arm is up in that overhead position do you actually initiate the rotation. Let's go backwards, still rotating. Breathe. As the left hand comes up and over, you rotate to the left. As the right hand comes up and over, you rotate to the right. 3, 2, 1, and excellent. Good. Now we're going to get into the bow and arrow, and I want to go through 2 different variations. I want to utilize our standard variation, which is going to start with our feet at hip width, toes are pointed forward, and then we're going to get into the variation where we actually cross the side we're stretching, or at least cross that leg behind that stabilizing leg. This allows us to get a bigger stretch on that lateral line and on those tissues. I'm going to start feet about shoulder width. Toes are going to be pointed forward here. The bottom of the stick, I'm going to have it about 6 inches from the outside of my foot, but that is always adjustable based on you and also how strong you are, right? If we're creating a little bit of tension to the stick and you're finding that it's too hard to stabilize and get that stretch, don't be afraid to move the stick out a little bit further here. Left hand is at about hip level, right hand comes up and over. First thing, I'm going to drive my hips out, drive the stick into the ground about 10%, really, really light. And then I'm going to extend both hands out. And also keep your pelvis tucked, because if you start to anteriorly tilt your pelvis, you start to get into that low back a lot. Slowly come back in, ease off, rotate your stick so it's not all bowing in one direction. We're gonna do that same thing. Right hand up over the top, drive your hips away from the stick, extend those hands out. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Slowly come back in and ease off. Let's go ahead and switch sides, and then we'll go to that other variation. We're gonna do that same thing. Right hand's about roughly hip level. Left hand comes up and over the top, thumb facing down. Drive the hips away, drive the stick into the floor, and extend. Slowly ease off. Excellent. Rotate that stick a bit. Grab the stick, drive the hips away, extend those hands out. 3, 2, 1. Back in. Nice and slow. We're gonna switch sides. I'm gonna have the stick, the bottom of the stick out further for this particular drill here. I'm gonna cross my right foot behind my left. So crossing my legs here. So I'm gonna have my left hand still at the roughly about hip height here. Take the right hand up over the top, thumb facing down. So driving those hips away. Now extend those hands out. Hold. Excellent. Slowly come back in, ease off. Now we're gonna switch sides. Bottom of the stick is out. Cross that left foot behind the right. Right hand right about where your hips are. Left hand up over the top, thumb facing down. Drive the hips away. Then extend. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Slowly ease off and relax. And that, my friends, concludes today's Sick Mobility class. Thank you again, everybody, for joining me. I hope everybody had a good class, had some fun with the TRX. I will be sure to catch you all next time. As usual, stay safe. Catch you on the next one.